Appreciate having me in to talk, man. That's great.
Oh,
That's awesome.
always. I wish we had more time to go, well, not go through all 27 tracks, but go through a bunch of them.
Absolutely.
So Joel Plaskett, welcome to the studio.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here.
It's always a pleasure to have you in.
Nice to be back in Calgary.
It's nice when you do something insane like this.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm sure you've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah.
You lost your mind.
Got a bit of a reaction. I felt like I was losing my mind making it, but I was having a good time doing it. So, yeah, there we go.
New record 3. So what does Alan Reed say when you go into his office and you're like, I want to put out 27 songs, I want you to distribute that for me?
I got to say, Maple were real cool about it. I mean, I've had a pretty long-standing relationship with them, and I think, ever since sort of La Di Da, which was kind of like a sort of left-to-center record in terms of when I delivered that to them, they were like, this is cool, but then it did really well, and they were like, hey, this is good, all right. It kind of gave them a confidence in what I'm doing, and it gave me a confidence to just feel like I could create something for myself and for my audience that I know that I have, and by changing and then having a label that kind of embraces that has made it really great. So the biggest challenge was like, okay, this is cool. How are we going to sell it? Or, because that's what record labels do.
Right.
They sell music, right? So, they have to kind of determine how they want to price it and all that. And there's, you have that. There's certainly, it's not without its debate in terms of trying to figure out how you want to present it. When I'm like, I want to make it a triple package, 3 CDs and 3 booklets and all this. It's like, oh, okay, oh yeah, really, all right, interesting. But they were great, and the reaction's been really exceptional. So
speaking of the 3 booklets, if people do pick up the disc, the actual physical disc, as opposed to downloading it as kids do nowadays, they'll see a cat sitting in the drum kit.
Yeah, my kitty cat, White Fang.
Has he ever actually sat in while you played?
No, she's walked.
Would it work as padding?
No, she'll walk by it though. She's deaf, right? So
she could sit in it.
So
not
she
really
probably
know.
could sit in it. I mean, imagine the thump would bother her. But yeah, it's funny. I took her down in my space. She just crawled right into the bass drum. I was like, this is where I'm going to hang out.
That's a cool picture.
Yeah.
You got Rose and Anna and your dad on the road. So it's just the 4 of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a different kind of tour.
It's really fun. It is a different show. The band's joining us for the last 4 shows. Toronto, we're playing Massey Hall.
The Emergency or a different band?
Yeah,
okay,
Emergency.
Nice.
So Ottawa, Toronto, and Halifax and Montreal. I got the
it's all pricey to
acoustic.
fly them out west for everything.
Well, it's too hard when you're trying to do things in one vehicle and stuff. As soon as you start doubling your costs, you got to start doubling the amount of people that you're drawing. Really, that's what it boils down to. You have to, and it keeps getting better. Calgary's has been amazing.
I remember last time you were here was a sold out show.
Yeah, and tonight's sold out, and so it's like, I'm thrilled, but it's just kind of like, I'm also pretty realistic about trying to make sure that I don't, just go, I've never toured in a tour bus or anything like that, just because.
I don't think many Canadian bands do, unless you get to a certain level.
No, I mean, a lot of the time, if you do see a band in a bus, unless if they're not drawing huge numbers of people, somebody's bankrolling it, and I just don't, I don't like to take those risks. So
fair enough.
I miss having the Emergency along sometimes, but I got to say, this acoustic tour has been really fun.
Yeah.
And it's been a good challenge for me to try and pace a show differently with different people. Ann and Rose are such great singers. My dad's a great player, and we're just like, it's fun because I have to bring my adrenaline back a little. Normally I'm a bit like, I'm kind of like full on, I run a little bit, I overheat or something, but I try to cool off a little and play with, playing with acoustic people who are, playing a little cooler than I am. It's fun.
You mentioned your dad. I know you're Heartless. You co-wrote with him.
Yeah.
First time?
We worked on the music to that together. I wrote the words and that tenor guitar line that I'm actually playing. Yeah, it was kind of the first time we've really written anything together. We sat down and played guitar and worked on a couple of little melodies here and there. Has he always been like your major
influence in music?
Well, in a way, in terms of like going back a long way, and certainly with folk music, my introduction to a lot of that, the songs that I love. There's a lot of like British folk and Irish folk music that I love is stuff that my dad turned me on to, and stuff that he would play, songs that he would sing and stuff. So I kind of he's been a huge influence to me in that respect. I mean, there's a lot of other music that I went off and kind of got into as a teenager, but especially now going back and trying to make a record that definitely showcases the guitar and the kind of has a folk music, part. Having him play on it makes a lot of sense because my guitar style when I play in that way is very much inherited from him. So.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And he's throughout the record.
Yeah, he's all over the record.
great.
I wish he could have come here today. We just kind of like we arrived on the venue and
don't worry about it.
You know,
leave him there, let him sit.
Yeah, exactly. Give him time to rest after the show.
There's a bunch. There's a 3-word title themes. There's also Tweedledum and Tweedledee. It shows up. The Berlin Wall shows up all over the place.
Yeah.
Lunenburg. Are you living in
Lunenburg? Yeah, I don't live in Lunenburg. I grew up in Lunenburg, so that's
vinyl records.
Yeah,
something else. Yeah. Good things come to those who blank.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, run, roll.
And you're gonna recur a lot of themes, I guess, when you write 27 songs over the course of a certain period of time.
And then once you start realizing that there are a few, because when I'm doing these writing, I often notice similarities, and I recycle phrases now and then. Sometimes
I know some people it bothers. You say, "Oh, I don't want to use that line. I already used it." But then you hear it back, and you're like, "Oh, it's in that song too." It's kind of cool.
I embraced it on this record. I thought repetition would be the thing that would glue it together.
It seems to.
And bring some, because there's a lot of different genres of music to a certain extent.
There's crazy drum machines everywhere, and then folk songs and country songs.
Yeah. So by pulling the lyrics into the same world, I've always loved like Chuck Berry and Bruce Springsteen, guys like that. When you listen to their words, they recycle a lot of phrases and they mine the same terrain. In terms of like they evoke a certain place, and so I love language and I like playing with it, and I like turning some of those expressions on their ear and reusing them here and there.
That's cool. I know you're in a rush, so we'll do 5 questions and I'll let you get out of here. Road or studio?
Boy, that's like hot and cold, It depends on the winter and the summer, right?
Right now, you enjoying being on the road?
Right now, I'm really enjoying on the road now. Yeah, and I kind of maxed out of the studio. I think I'm through with the studio.
After doing 27
songs, and I just finished producing a record for 2 Hours Traffic.
Oh, good.
Which is great. But I basically spent the last year in the studio doing stuff, So I'm kind of I'm ready for the live stage right now. I'm loving it.
Speaking of studio, last time Peter Elgos was here, he said he was going out to you to record some stuff.
Yeah, he came out.
Finished?
Yeah, we did. Well, we did 2 songs for a 7-inch. I have a new label called New Scotland Records. And I put two songs of Peter's out on a 7-inch single, cool. And he plays on the new record, piano on one track, and Pete's joining us for the Massey Hall gig. He's playing with the Emergency.
He's phenomenal. He was here with Jason Collette, and he played in his band too. He's played 3 hours on stage.
Peter's a real heavyweight musician. He's amazing.
Back to 5 questions. I know you got to go.
Yeah.
Lennon or McCartney?
I'm a Lennon guy. I mean, Plastic Ono Band for me is the record. I actually kind of prefer both of them solo more so than in the Beatles.
Really?
Yeah, sort of.
Even the later McCartney discs?
Well, like Wings and like I mean, that's not solo. Yeah, I mean, once you hit the 80s, everything gets dicey once you hit the 80s. But I love Plastic Ono Band. That Lennon record for me is a really magical record. So yeah.
Cool. Most important thing in a song: lyrics, melody, or cadence?
You kind of can't have one without the other, but for me, good words make or break a tune.
Cool. Song you've written you're most proud of?
Right now, I'm really really happy with this song called Lazy Bones on the new record.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorites. And then if I go into the back catalog, there's a couple others.
No, Lazy Bones works.
Lazy Bones.
Yeah, I like it.
That's one of my favorites. Light of the Moon is another. True Patriot Love, and a song called Before You Leave from the Thrush Room back catalog. Those are some of my favorites.
Do you still pull those tunes out live ever?
That one I do.
Yeah.
Haven't done much else. I'd love to see if I could at some point, but it's right now I'm trying to cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, fair enough. One word before you go, Joel Plaskett.
One word?
One word.
Jeez, if I had to pick one word, that's what you're asking for?
Describe your music. Maybe not you, but your music.
One word. Ramshackle.
There's a word.
There we go.
That's a good one. Words. There's a word.
I like that one.
Well, Joel Plaskett, thank you very much. Knox United Church tonight. Sold out show. We don't even need to plug selling tickets because you can't come in if you wanted to.